As we're heading farther into the new year, it's time we continue our journey of going through each Mario Kart game and ranking their tracks. Last year, we covered Super Mario Kart and Mario Kart 64. Both of these games helped kickstart the Mario Kart series and are really what made this series so popular to begin with. But then, we got what's probably the most obscure mainline entry in the series, Mario Kart Super Circuit, released on the Game Boy Advance in 2001. This was the very first portable Mario Kart ever made, which at the time was pretty crazy, but even with that, I barely hear anybody talk about this game, because it's arguably the most forgettable entry in the series. That's not to say it's a bad game, not at all, but it just had the smallest impact on the series. Regardless, one of the coolest parts about this game is that it had 40 tracks. Yeah, half of them may be from Super Mario Kart, but still. So today, I'm going to rank all of them, as well as cover the battle tracks in a separate section. I'm really not looking forward to ranking all the SNES tracks again, but I'm doing this for you guys, so let's go. 40. Vanilla Lake 2. I don't care how many times I replay this track, it'll never not be annoying. You drive on a circle made of ice and have to avoid this giant pool of water in the middle. You also have to drive around these blocks of snow that'll slow you down if you bump into them. These blocks are incredibly annoying and make racing a much bigger pain than it should, especially combined with the icy physics. I really hate this track and probably always will. 39. Vanilla Lake 1. It's the same idea as before, but the ice blocks are slightly less intrusive. The track also has better flow than Vanilla Lake 2, but it's still not good and I really dislike it. 38. Mario Circuit 1, the very first Mario Kart track of all time, and simultaneously one of the lamest tracks of all time. There's nothing visually interesting about it other than Peach's castle in the background, and there's barely any turns you have to take. I don't care what this track represents, it's not great. 37. Peach Circuit. It looks exactly the same as Mario Circuit 1, but the track layout is more interesting. There's also some trees placed on the sidelines, which is cool, I guess. I don't really know what else to say. This is the very first track in Super Circuit, so don't be surprised it's this low on the list. 36. Koopa Beach 2. You drive on a circle-shaped beach, so there's a very tropical feeling you get while racing here. You can even see a pirate ship in the background. That's kinda cool. As for the track itself, the only interesting thing to point out is that there's this portion where you drive on the ocean and have to avoid these large pits of water that you'll sink through. I don't think this track is bad, but it's held back by how short it is, and it gets rid of the cheap keeps from the original for some reason. 35. Choco Island 1. I find it hard to believe that this track is made out of chocolate, but whatever, right? There's nothing much that makes this track stand out compared to others aside from the visual aesthetic, but there are some bumps on the road and small piles of mud you have to watch for as they can mess up your driving. This track is fine, it's just nothing special. 34. Koopa Beach 1. What gives this version of Koopa Beach an advantage over Koopa Beach 2 is that it's a bit longer and features a couple splitting paths. However, this track also removes the cheap keeps from the original as well as a few ramps. It's not a big deal, but it's still a downgrade in my opinion. 33. SNES Bowser Castle 2. Out of all the Bowser Castle tracks found in Super Circuit, this one is definitely my least favorite. And trust me, this isn't the last time we see a Bowser's Castle track on this list. Not by a long shot. The turns are insanely sharp, there's several pits of lava to maneuver around, and there's even a dead end found in the middle of the course. I'm not sure why that's there, but okay. This track is okay, but it can be really annoying to race through. There's also no thwomps, which seems like a weird thing to remove when there are thwomps in the game. 32. Choco Island 2. Imagine Choco Island 1, but the track is more wavy, there's more bumps on the road, and there's this big ass pile of mud that screws with your driving. All of this stuff makes for a track that is kind of better than Choco Island 1, but not by much. 31. Bowser Castle 1. I think this might be the shortest Bowser Castle track in the entire series. It does have some interesting stuff like fireballs, thwomps that slam onto the floor, and dirt that'll slow you down. Also, I gotta mention that the music for all the GBA Bowser Castles is phenomenal. In fact, that's the only reason I want an HD version of one of them, so we can get an orchestral remix of it. 30. SNES Bowser Castle 1. The layout isn't as complicated as SNES Bowser Castle 2, but I find it to be a lot more fun to race here because it's not as annoying to drive around. 29. Mario Circuit. This is it. This is Mario Kart Super Circuit's original Mario Circuit. Can you tell? I literally have nothing new to mention about this track other than it's got a different track design that I find a bit more fun to race on. 28. Mario Circuit 2. This course has an epic jump near the end. And yeah, that's about it. 27. Ghost Valley 1. Just like with most of the tracks I've listed already, this course is very short and the layout isn't that interesting. The only reason this is higher on the list is because I like the creepy atmosphere. The music is very chilling, the background looks awesome, and the walls on the side fall down if you run into them, adding a small layer of tension. 26. Ghost Valley 2. It's Ghost Valley 1, but the track has a little more variety and there's less walls to keep you from falling off. 25. Donut Plains 1. Aside from the disappointing lack of donuts, there's some dirt on the ground that can mess up your driving, there's a bridge you can drive over, and the background looks pretty cool. I know, I'm really stretching for stuff to talk about. 24. Donut Plains 2. It's the same damn thing as the last one, but it's a bit more wavy. There's also no Monty Moles like in the original, not sure why, but fine. 23. Shy Guy Beach, and here we have another beach that's shaped like a circle, but now it's a lot longer, and you've got obstacles like these crabs walking around, and there's even a Shy Guy pirate ship in the background firing cannonballs at you. 22. SNES Rainbow Road. Arguably the hardest track from the Super Nintendo. The turns are insanely sharp, some of the road is very skinny, and there's absolutely no guardrails to keep you on course. Just like some of the other remakes, this track removes the thwomps, but considering how thin the road can get, probably wasn't the worst idea. I know some people hate this course, but I think it's kind of fun. 21. Mario Circuit 3. It's exactly like the other Mario Circuits, but the track is more wavy, therefore it's technically better. 20. Mario Circuit 4. It's exactly like the other Mario Circuits, but the track is more wavy. It feels like I just said that. 19. SNES Bowser Castle 3. This is easily the best Bowser Castle from the SNES. The layout is more interesting, there's a lot more jumps and splitting paths you can take, and it overall has the best flow out of all the other Bowser Castle tracks I've listed so far. 18. Ghost Valley 3. The background looks frickin' awesome with the mountains and the monsters, plus there's not that many walls surrounding the track, and there's some holes you need to drive around. 17. Donut Plains 3. There's a couple bridges to drive over, the road once again has some dirt that can mess up your driving, and the layout is very wavy while remaining fun to race on. And with that, I am done talking about Super Mario Kart tracks. Hooray! 16. Riverside Park. This track may look similar to the Donut Plains tracks, but there's a few more interesting things to help it stand out. There's a couple speed boosts, a ramp to jump off near the end, and the music slaps pretty hard. These things aren't anything major, but at least they do something to help this course stand out. 15. Snowland. Imagine the Vanilla Lake tracks, but they're actually tolerable for the most part. I really like how this track looks, and the obstacles found on the track, like the ice, snowmen, penguins, and water holes, provide a nice challenge. But the biggest problem with this track is that the screen shakes during the entire race. You do get used to it after a while, but it can be very annoying. 14. Luigi Circuit. It's just like all the other circuit tracks, but now it's raining, and there's some Luigi goodness like this giant blimp in the background. The rain effect isn't that bad, and there's puddles scattered around the track that'll slip you up. Combine that with the more interesting track layout, and you've got the best circuit track in the game. 13. Yoshi Desert. As with most desert levels, I don't really get a lot out of this one, but I can't deny it's got some neat stuff. There's a couple speed boosts scattered around, there's some sinkholes with piranha plants hiding in them, and I really like how the track looks visually. I mean, come on, there's a Yoshi Sphinx in the background. What's not to love? 12. Bowser Castle 4. Is it just me, or does that look like a giant bomb in the background? This Bowser Castle has the most intricate design out of all the Bowser Castles in this game, which does make it pretty cool. However, actually racing can be a bit irritating considering how tightly packed everything is, and some annoying enemy placement, but it can still be a lot of fun. 11. Bowser Castle 2. There's a cool Bowser statue in the background, and the track is a bit easier to race on. Other than that, there's nothing that really makes it unique compared to the other bajillion Bowser Castles. 10. Boo Lake. The creepy atmosphere and boos flying around definitely sells the scariness this track was going for. The track also features a couple ramps and splitting paths, and just like the Ghost Valley tracks, the walls on the side will fall down if players run into them. 9. Bowser Castle 3. Not only does the blue and purple color palette look spectacular, but this track has the smoothest layout out of all the Bowser Castle tracks, and is the best one in my opinion. 8. Broken Pier. Same idea as Boo Lake, but the road is much more jagged. There's also a lot more places to take shortcuts, and the boos will snatch your coins if you run into them. Also, again, I frickin' love that background with the giant monsters being formed out of the mountains. 7. Cheep Island. I don't care how old this game is, this track still looks beautiful to this day. The sunset, clouds, and orange and yellow colors are really what makes this track so memorable. The track itself is also pretty solid. The crabs, speed boosts, and multiple splitting paths are all elements you need to consider when racing. There's not much more to say, it's just a really fun track. 6. Lakeside Park. Out of all the tracks that originated from Super Circuit, this is the one that most desperately needs an HD remake. It may look similar to something like Riverside Park, but the main difference is that lava rocks will come shooting out of the volcano in the background and fall onto the track. Top that off with how wavy the track is, and you've got one hell of a good time. 5. Cheese Land. I'm not sure who came up with the idea of turning cheese into a racetrack, but they should get a raise. The entire track is literally made out of cheese. You've even got pillars of cheese and little mice running around, which is adorable. The only thing keeping this track from true greatness is including giant slices of pizza, but you know what? I'll take what I can get. 4. Rainbow Road. I'm not sure why, but I've always had a weird fondness for this interpretation of Rainbow Road. There's actually a lot of stuff that happens. There's a bunch of dash panels on the ground, almost all the railings can be bounced off of, and there's even smaller things like shooting stars and clouds of lightning that can shock you. 3. Sky Garden. Probably the most memorable track in the game. It doesn't have many interesting mechanics, but it's just very pleasant to drive through. The whole track takes place in the sky, and there's a ton of greenery and beanstalks poking out of the clouds. I should also mention that music. Even to this day, it is such a catchy tune. 2. Ribbon Road. It must be someone's birthday. Look at all those giant presents seen in the background. This track is similar to Sky Garden in the sense that it doesn't do much to technically stand out, but it's just pure fun the whole way through. It's definitely the most colorful track in the game, and it just puts a smile on my face every time I play it. 1. Sunset Wilds. This is one of the few Super Circuit tracks that manages to hold up with the modern ones. You drive through this sort of canyon-like track, and there's a bunch of things like mud piles, dash panels, and these goddamn shy guys that'll latch onto you and steal your coins. There's also this really cool mechanic where with each lap, the sun will go down until it's completely nighttime. I seriously can't emphasize enough how cool Sunset Wild is, and it's my pick for the best track in Mario Kart Super Circuit. And as much as I really don't care about the battle tracks, I must suck it up and rank them anyway, so here we go. 4. Battle Course 2. The roads are very narrow, and the middle of the track can only be accessed by two sides. This makes this map very claustrophobic and not really that fun. 3. Battle Course 3. This map features the exact opposite problem, and honestly has too much space to move around. There's no splitting paths to take, and the only walls on the track are very easy to avoid. 2. Battle Course 1. This map was pretty much completely ripped right out of Super Mario Kart. It's a basic track with a basic design, but it works well enough to battle on. 1. Battle Course 4. It's funny how a desert-themed map came out on top. This track has the perfect blend of having enough open space to do battle, while also having decently sized hazards to spice up the action. I like this map, and that's about it. I can't believe I just wasted my time ranking all these boring as hell tracks, but what's done is done. But hey, at least this means my videos on the other games will hopefully be more interesting. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, then make sure to give it a like, and if you have a favorite track from this game, then comment it down below. Also, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you'll know when I post more videos like this. Have a great day, stay safe out there, and I will see you in the next one.